Muy buenas, aunque me veáis aquí en pequeñito, la estrella es otra, como podéis ver, y es que hoy estamos con uno de los bajistas más importantes de la historia de no solo del thrash metal, sino también de toda la historia de lo que es la música metal en general. Así que sin más dilación, aquí tenemos a quien ha sido durante muchos años bajista de Megadeth y ahora tiene distintos proyectos como Dial y Kings of Thrash. Y no me voy a demorar más y vamos a presentarle. Hello, how are you, David?
I am well. I'm well. Great to chat with you, Danny.
Today we are talking because you are releasing a new album with Diet. I don't know if I pronounce it well. Diet.
Yes, it's Diet. Yep.
I should do a diet. that is the thing. You're playing with Guillermo from Entombed AG and with Michel from Decapitated in the past. So I'd like to know, how did this project start?
You know, a mutual friend over here in America just introduced us on email, and Guillermo and Michal had already started the first song, which was In the Hall of the Hanging Serpents that we put out last year. We exchanged some files, just, it was still coming out of COVID time, so we did that track remotely. And I was in Europe last year in the spring, about this exact same time last year, actually. So when I was there, I said, hey, Guillermo, let's just get in a room and shoot a video, like a proper music video. So he put that whole thing together for us to shoot that video. And we dropped the single we just put it out on my Facebook in July last year. And it just blew up. It was so unexpected. And I think people were so excited about it. They just loved the vibe of it. It's super heavy. But yet there's good melody and there's good charisma, I think, in the band, and Napalm came to us to give us a record deal, and that kind of makes it official, when you get a label. And then we got serious about finishing up the rest of the record. We went in the studio in Germany last year with Christian Cole to finish up the album, and that's just it. So it's been, I guess it's been about a year, definitely over a year that we've been working on this, and not a lot of time, to be honest with you, from inception to the reality of it, of it happening. It's maybe a total of about 18 months, from the time we first played a note together to putting our first album out.
So you've been a few times together with this new project, but what is your main goal nowadays with Diet?
Well, the first thing is, once people saw it and we knew that they liked it last year, then it was about just creating the full length album, which essentially is a story, right? Each song is like a chapter and the album is the entire book. So, getting an album that is cohesive, it tells a consistent story, it's a completed thought. And, from the opening of excuse me, of To Hell and Back to Severance, it's a completed journey, and, one we're really proud of. It's something that I think we speak a collective narrative between the three of us. And, now putting these songs out for the world to hear. Just this last week, we put out essentially our third single, which is Don't Get Mad, Get Even. And, now everything is aiming toward June 2nd, which is the release of the album, as well as the live shows that are coming up starting in June.
Mm-hmm. Your first one, if I'm not wrong, is Grasp of Metal Meeting. It's a huge festival here in Europe, and you have a few more, like in Portugal and Czech Republic and France, if I'm not wrong. But a part of this kind of shows, as I am a Spanish journalist, I would like to know if you are planning another dates outside the festivals run, like in some clubs, for example, here in Spain.
Yeah, we started, we've got two shows in Poland that we're doing just right ahead of Graspop. And then there's the 4 festivals. We actually just got an offer today for something in August. So, now there's starting to be more stuff, and it's it's kind of this chicken or the egg. And as much as we would have loved to come over and done a full festival run, with the album not coming out until June, people just kind of started to know the band when we put the single To Hell and Back out last month in March. So, March there's a single, April there's a single, May there's going to be another single, and then the album drops. So a lot of this is just building the awareness of the band. And of course, as people are hearing it, they're digging it. They're really liking it. And, now the phone's ringing for people wanting us to jump on tours with them.
And now you are releasing this album and you have these shows with Diet. But the thing is that since you started this new era in your career, it's like, okay, for example, I'm reading Blabbermouth, for example. Okay, another David Ellefson band, like Kings of Thrash, Diet, and are you afraid about people can think about Diet like the band of the bass player who was playing in Megadeth, or is it an advantage for you?
No, look. I'm always going to be known for my work in Megadeth, but me not being in Megadeth is not of my choice. Okay, so I think people are appreciative that I'm continuing to make music, at least from what I've seen. It's not like I left the band and said, fuck you, I'm out. And, because if I did that and then if I was trying to start new bands, people would be like, fuck you, Ellefson, you left our favorite band, fuck you, we don't care. People know that that was not my decision, and it was not the way that I would have handled that at all. But since that is the reality, for me to work with other musicians, Kings of Thrash being a member of my past with Jeff Young, I think we put together something pretty cool, to go out and play songs that I know are never going to get played again. Songs that our fans have been asking us for many years. So in a lot of ways, Kings of Thrash is me doing an honorarium of my past, right? So clearly I'm not mad about the past. I'm not disrespectful. I didn't just close the door on Megadeth and say, fuck you and move on to something else. I didn't do that at all. I'm very much, I will always be an ambassador for that group and for those songs and for that music because I'm a part of that, right? So I think that's the difference is I think I'm being very respectful toward it, despite how my dismissal was handled. I think I've gone above and beyond being respectful and when I can assure you many others would not have. But I did. At the same time, there's new music. There's a forward path, and I'm not just going to live in my past, my glory days of the past. I could just quit and not do any more music. I mean, to be honest with you, I could. I mean, and there's some days I think about that going, fuck all this shit. Maybe I should just stop and just fucking get rid of all my guitars and just call it a day. I mean, there really are days I think about that, but then I turn around and I go, let me grab an instrument and I start playing, right? So it's that natural instinct to want to play. That's why you and me are even on this conversation right now, right?
Yeah.
That's why there is another David Ellefson band, is because it's, I'm passionate about it and I'm honest and I'm genuine about it. I'm not forcing something. I'm certainly not doing it for the money. All these bands fucking cost me money. I put my own money back into these things, but that's, I've owned rock band since I was 12 years old, so I've been doing this pretty much most of my life. I've been doing this. Right. So, I enjoy playing. I enjoy playing with my buddies, man. I enjoy getting on stages, seeing fans being happy and people rocking out. And that seems to be one of the reasons I'm on the planet. So I'm just trying to fulfill apparently what seems to be kind of a God-given talent, and I guess when the good Lord says I'm done, then I'll be done. Until then, we have Dieth, and then now we have a new band.
And as you said, you didn't left Megadeth and you didn't say fuck you or whatever. But do you think you were like something like a victim of a unnecessary criminalization?
100%, fucking 100%. I was, that everything about that was just, it was just not okay. You know what I mean? And but you can spend the rest of your life trying to get justice, trying to, um, it just to go down that road, and then it's kind of like it always just follows you, And I was, I had some good advisors around me, and at some point it's like, look, it is what it is. What happened happened. Just move on. Life is lived forward, not backward, and rather than just, and I think, I mean, look, let's play to the song we just put out this week, Don't Get Mad, Get Even. On the for surface level, it looks like, yeah, fuck those guys, get even with them, right? Eye for an eye, Old Testament, right? But the song really is about, okay, you can't change the past, but you can change your future, And what the song and certainly the lyric or the video portrays is, all right, what can I do different this time? Own your shit, move on, which is what I did, the night that a video was put out, of me that was not, I knew nothing about, and there it was. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, own your shit. All right, hey, whatever, that happened, move on. You know what I mean? And and don't sit there and try to just go back and do some spin control or call the publicists, and because that's what some people wanted to do, and they're like, fuck that, just it is what it is, just fucking own it, move on, and I'd like to think there's more integrity in just own your shit and move on, and that's really what our song is about. All right, be better now, let that situation help you get better, rather than just sit around and hate on everyone. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the strength in the song is. I mean, look, a lot of this Dieth record is me and Guilherme and Mihal. We each came out of bands that had some challenging pasts.
Yep.
Right? And right? And we have written a collective of songs that, I think kind of we naturally went back to some of those situations, and it was cathartic to write about them. Without having to point the finger at anyone, but just sort of write about the situation and maybe some of the emotion around it, right? And that's why we called the album To Hell and Back, because it's we're not there now, right? We're past all that. We're long past it, and which is why I don't just keep talking about it. I just fucking have long moved on from it. That's 2 years in my rearview mirror, and same with Guilherme and Mihal. And so for us, these songs, to write this sort of story, you go through hell and then you fucking come back around. And, Muhammad Ali had a great quote. I think it was him. He said, if I'm the same man at 50 that I was at 30, I just wasted 20 years of my life. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, here I am now a couple years down the road. What's different? Have you learned anything? Did you take those experiences and live through them and move on? I went through a lot of experiences in Megadeth, some of them public, some not, of just, as every band does, internal struggles, internal dynamics. This day of the internet, everybody thinks everything should fucking be public, and it shouldn't be, man. Everybody's entitled to a personal life and some shit, especially stuff inside of bands, and that needs to be, it's part of the inner workings of a human dynamic, man. And everything doesn't fucking have to be on your daily blog on fucking the internet. So I think in a lot of ways that stuff is compromised, sort of the integrity of just how you work things out between people.
And after these 2 years where you have been through different feelings, I guess, about all that happened, and you had to live with the press headlines and all that stuff in the social media and more. Now, 2 years later, do you consider that what you did was bad?
First of all, I'm entitled to a personal life, and I didn't do anything to anyone, period. Okay. That's just the bottom line, right? And some people set out to really hurt me. And I don't know, so again, I don't really want to keep digging this up, because now we're doing the very thing I'm talking about, which is not digging it up, right? We've moved on from it. And you're right. It is what it is. It was what it was. And I certainly set out to prove what it wasn't. And that's the path I took, and, I think the bigger picture here, because I think right away, look, I came forward and just said, hey, this is what it is. Sorry, it's embarrassing. But the fact that I was discounted from my band was clearly, I think people could see, because it was personally signed, there was other resentments and other things behind that. And I think that's what became clear, was, and again, I did my best to try to mend that fence and, to fix that, but they didn't want to know about it. He didn't want to know about it. So it is what it is, again. So I have not spent the last 2 years walking around saying, fuck you and da, 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 da. If anything, hey, I wish you well, get on with your life. If that's what it is, then better to go our separate ways. And, for me, it's about, okay, so now it's on me, right? Now it's my name on the door. Now it's my face that represents the new things that we're doing. And, first of all, look, the only reason we're having this conversation is because I'm a musician, I'm a recording artist, I'm a performer, right? So does the music measure up, right? Does the music I've done, does it measure up? And I think first thing I put out with the Lucid, I think right away people were blown away. They're like, whoa, holy shit, man. Because not only was it really good, it was uplifting, and it was soaring, and it was something that was that's probably not the thing you would probably hear from someone who just took a serious fucking beating unnecessarily from a lot of really shitty people, but that's when you've been nailed to the cross, ironically or figuratively. What's after that? Do you rise again, or do you stay in the tomb? Right? To use an Easter analogy, right? And it's the Japanese have a great saying: if you fall down 7 times, get up 8. Right? Get up again.
Yeah.
And so I think the first thing is the music matters, right? And then then I came along with the Dieth record. People heard the first song in the Hall of Hanging Serpents, were like, holy shit, this is freaking cool, and then I put out the Ellefson Soto record. And then, in the meanwhile, I've been working in the background on the Dieth record. So, and then, Kings of Thrash sort of fell into play. And I think the thing about all these things is, number one, it's about the music. Number two, it's about a collaborative setting, right? It's about being in situations that you feel safe in, right? Because clearly I was in a situation that wasn't safe, and And so I think there's a big part of wanting to create and collaborate with people you trust, people you feel safe around, and that only helps make the music better when it's inviting rather than very polarizing.
So after you change all this big monster of the Megadeth company live, because at least you are playing not only for a band, even for a big company. Now you are in a safer place, as you've said, and with Kings of Thrash, Diet, your own project. I'd like to know, because I think we don't have time for more, but I'd like to know if now you feel safer, as you said, if you're happy now or happier than before.
Very much. And in fact, outside of you and me talking about this, I don't even think about Megadeth anymore. I really don't. I don't think about it. I don't, that whole thing to me, it's dead to me, to be honest with you. And I don't say that in a mean way.
But I mean, if your life has changed, if you are happier now than when you were playing before all this shit, when do you feel you are more happy, now or before?
I wasn't unhappy before. I knew what I was walking back into when I came back to Megadeth. Okay. Sorry about that. Apologies. I knew what I was walking back into in 2010, which is why I agreed to only go back for 1 month and do the Rust in Peace tour, right? And essentially, I saved the day because they didn't have a bass player, and they were about ready to go play the Rust in Peace album. And Sean Drover, who recently was under some pretty shitty attack by a certain person we know. Sean Drover did the right thing bringing me back to Megadeth. It was the right move for the band, for the legacy, for the fans, for the Big Four, for everything around it. Sean Drover, is a hero to Megadeth. And he brought me back. I agreed to do it for a month. Went well. So we agreed to go to South America. Went well. We agreed to carry on, and we just kind of took it one tour at a time. And that carried on for another 11 years. Okay, so as much as there's, some recent scrutiny about, I should have never been brought back. Well, apparently I should have been, right? And apparently I should have never been out of there in the first place, right? So, and the 2 times that I've not been there were not of my doing. I'll just say that, right? The first one was over the change of financial, splits, and then the second time was, clearly of something much bigger, of personal grudges and resentments toward me. But that notwithstanding, I knew what I was walking back into, and we had a lot of good times. There was a lot of fun, in the 11 years that I came back. Not so much in the recent years. The last couple of years were pretty shitty and pretty difficult, especially trying to make that record. It was very clear I was not invited into it. I was not welcomed. Clearly Dave did not want me to be part of that story, of that album. And I knew it. So again, I'm a big boy. I get it. I see it. So that's why when I was dismissed, it was kind of like, well, all right, move on from that. Right. So again, that's why I'm not bitter about this, Now it didn't end the way I thought it would, but oh well, Megadeth's over again. Well, now what? Move on. So I'd already been down this road once before. So I think for me, I always knew when I came back to the group that, don't look for your happiness here. Enjoy it, be thankful for it. It's going to end. You just don't know when or how, but it will end one day, and it did. So when it happened, I was able to just kind of move on from it and get away from, again, shitty people that did shitty things to me, and just kind of close all that down and move on. So I think now there's just a lot more joy in my life. I make music I like with people I like. I'm excited about it. You know, if playing the biggest stages and making the most amount of money is the thing that makes you happy, well, that's not been the goal for me, because I've done it. You know, the Grammys sitting up here, all the awards are up here on my shelf. I can look up every day, oh, that's right, I did that. You know, now it's not about that anymore. You know, did that phase of my life. Now it's about, you know, do I like hanging out with you? You know, is it, you know, are you cool? Are you decent? Are you not an asshole? Like, that's the deal. That's the thing. You know, if you're not a fucking douchebag, you know, and you know, let's hang out, you know. And if you are, don't call me, you know. I'd rather hang out and do other things, you know. And so, you know, I think that's about as simple as it gets. Don't be a douchebag, you know.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, David, thank you very much for your time. It's been a very nice talk. I hope you have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
And well, if you come to Spain with Diet, with Kings of Thrash, or whatever, you are always welcome. And even more here in Barcelona, where I am. And as I told you before, if you need a special guest, you know.
Nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So, well, thank you, David. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.